Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, just months after it was acquired by France from the Republic of Genoa. Though born into minor nobility, his family was not wealthy and his upbringing was modest. At a young age, he was sent to mainland France to attend military school, where he faced discrimination for his Corsican accent and background. Despite this, Napoleon excelled academically, especially in mathematics and military strategy. He trained as an artillery officer and graduated from the École Militaire in Paris, launching his career in the French army. His rise began during the French Revolution, a time of massive upheaval and opportunity. With many aristocratic officers fleeing the country or being executed, there were rapid openings for advancement. Napoleon demonstrated brilliance in command during the siege of Toulon in 1793, earning promotion to brigadier general at just 24 years old. He continued to gain attention for his leadership during internal rebellions and political instability. His Italian campaign in 1796-1797 was a turning point. He led poorly equipped French forces to a series of stunning victories against Austrian troops, gaining fame across Europe and setting the stage for his eventual leap from military commander to political power broker. In the chaotic years following the French Revolution, France's government was unstable and constantly shifting. By 1799, the ruling directory had become deeply unpopular due to corruption, military failures, and economic problems. Napoleon, already a celebrated general, saw an opportunity to seize power. He returned from his military campaigns in Egypt and quickly aligned himself with key political figures and his loyal troops. On November 9, 1799, 18 Brumaire in the revolutionary calendar, Napoleon staged a coup d'etat that effectively ended the Directory. With the help of his brother Lucien and other allies, he dispersed the legislature by force and assumed control in what was presented as a move to restore order. Following the coup, Napoleon established the consulate and named himself first consul, essentially placing himself at the head of the French government. While technically a republican system, the new structure gave him near total control. He worked to stabilize France by reforming the economy, reorganizing the legal system, and making peace with the Catholic Church. These early years of his rule were marked by efficiency, order, and progress, which made him highly popular. Napoleon's ability to combine military power with political maneuvering allowed him to transform from a soldier into the undisputed leader of France. In 1804, Napoleon took the bold and unprecedented step of declaring himself Emperor of the French. After a national referendum gave him overwhelming support, a grand coronation ceremony was held at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. In a symbolic and highly theatrical moment, Napoleon crowned himself, taking the crown from the Pope's hands and placing it on his own head. This act sent a clear message: his power did not come from the church or traditional monarchy, but from his own achievements and the will of the people. By crowning himself, Napoleon positioned himself as a self-made ruler, someone who rose through merit rather than inherited privilege. It also marked a turning point in the French Revolution's legacy, shifting away from republican ideals and toward authoritarian rule under one man. As emperor, Napoleon began to build a dynasty, giving titles to his family members and attempting to solidify his control over Europe. While he maintained some of the revolutionary reforms, such as legal equality and secular education, his rule increasingly resembled the monarchies he had once fought against. The empire he created was vast and powerful, but this moment revealed the deeper ambition driving Napoleon, not just to lead France, but to reshape Europe in his image. As emperor, Napoleon set out to expand French influence across Europe, using his military genius to lead campaigns that changed the face of the continent. His strategies were fast, unpredictable, and often revolutionary in their precision and coordination. He reorganized the French army into corps, semi-independent units that could move quickly and fight effectively, allowing for greater flexibility on the battlefield. His boldness and understanding of terrain, timing, and psychology often gave him the upper hand, even when outnumbered. Some of his most famous victories include the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, where he defeated both the Russian and Austrian armies in one of his most brilliant tactical moves. The following years saw triumphs at Jena, Wagram, and other key battles that pushed French borders outward and spread Napoleonic influence far beyond France. He overthrew monarchies, installed family members on foreign thrones, and reorganized European territories to reflect his own power structure. However, with each victory, he made more enemies. The British, Prussians, Austrians, and Russians began forming coalitions to stop his dominance. Despite this, Napoleon continued to expand, driven by his ambition to create a European empire under French rule. His conquests changed political boundaries and influenced military strategy for generations. Napoleon's downfall began with one of his most ambitious and disastrous decisions, the invasion of Russia in 1812. Confident in his power, he led the Grand Army, over 600,000 troops, into Russian territory, expecting a quick victory. But the Russians avoided direct confrontation, retreating deeper into the country while using scorched earth tactics to destroy food and supplies. When Napoleon finally reached Moscow, he found the city largely abandoned and burning. With winter approaching and no resources, his army was forced to retreat in brutal conditions. Freezing temperature, starvation, disease, and constant attacks decimated his forces. Fewer than 100,000 returned. This failure marked a turning point. European nations, sensing weakness, formed a new coalition against him. In 1814, after a series of defeats, Allied forces entered Paris. Napoleon was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba. But just a year later, in 1815, he escaped and returned to France in what became known as the 100 Days. His return electrified supporters, and he regained power briefly before facing a final confrontation at the Battle of Waterloo. There, he was decisively defeated by British and Prussian forces. Captured once again, he was exiled to the remote island of Saint Helena, where he would spend the rest of his life. Napoleon's legacy remains one of the most debated in history. Was he a brilliant reformer who brought order and progress to a chaotic France, or a ruthless dictator driven by ambition and ego? On one hand, he introduced lasting reforms like the Napoleonic Code, which influenced legal systems worldwide and promoted principles such as meritocracy, secular education, and centralized governance. He modernized the French state and left a deep imprint on Europe's political landscape. On the other hand, his thirst for power led to millions of deaths, endless wars, and the suppression of democratic ideals born from the French Revolution. Even today, his image stirs strong reactions: admiration for his genius, criticism for his tyranny. Statues of Napoleon stand in cities across France, while historians continue to reassess his impact. Was he a product of his time, or a man who tried to shape the world around his vision of glory? So what do you think? Was Napoleon a visionary leader or a dangerous dictator? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this dive into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that shape the world.